around the world.
Sorry.
Meeting women from so many countries around the world, from the small island of Aruba to the bigger players such as the USA and Australia. It was a joy of learning so much about them with their different personalities and styles of life, coupled with the realization that we had so much in common in our reasons for belonging. We were all working for women to recognize for their abilities and their right to have equal opportunities in all fields was inviting. How easy it was for as a new girl to international organizations and cooperation to create friendships and exchange experiences, and that it was when um, our tools for communication were still post, fax, and telephone. As I was working in a male dominating field at that time, I was very proud to be a part of an organization that could help me to gain self confidence and leadership skills, which I'm sure helped me successfully advance in my career. It was also a warm feeling that the Congress was being chaired by Mildred Head, a leading UK businesswoman who broke barriers for women in the UK. What I could not imagine at that time was that in the future I would be the next UK woman to follow her into the presidency. So after my first Congress experience, Washington Congress in 1983 was a must. The story that always gets remembered from there was of busloads of our delegates going to the White House being turned away at the gates, a fact that got into the newspapers. The power of the contacts that the then international president, Maxine Hayes, and her American colleagues had with the press succeeded in bringing President Ronald Reagan for a hastily unscheduled appearance at the Congress to apologize. Having key roles in and then the presidency of my own UK federation and going as a delegate to future congresses helped deepen my interest and also my involvement in IFBPW. I was delighted to see and meet some amazing women coming forward to serve our leadership. Congress in Bahama in 1989, a great move forward was the election of Yvette Swan as the first black woman to lead the Federation. Not only did Yvette have that distinction, but she was also the youngest person to be elected president and the first to come from an affiliate club and not a federation. That was a proud and pleasing moment to recognise her diversity and skills, which we were fortunate to enjoy for 2 terms, each of 2 years. If it was the president to steer BPW International through a very difficult 4 year period within the International Federation, when its largest and oldest affiliate, BPW USA, chose to leave IFBPW and was formally abrogated in November 1992. She, with the help of her astute treasurer, Willy Van Ysel, carefully managed the impact of the distinguished members and finance. Another very significant memory during Yvette's term was the European meeting in Aachen in 1990, when we celebrated the fall of the Berlin Wall and welcomed our BPW sisters from some of the Eastern European countries. To have them with us, instead of just thinking of them and remembering them being unable to join us from behind the Iron Curtain, made that a very special time, especially for the candlelighting ceremony. During this period, it was my pleasure to serve as the IFBPW Public Relations Chair. As a result of a public relations workshop, we decided to change from the twice yearly Widening Horizons magazine to publish a new format monthly newsletter, improving our communication and sharing our activities. The Nagoya, Japan Congress in 1993 was especially enjoyable and busy one for me as the workshop day coordinator, organising in advance sessions and trips in Nagoya while I was still in the UK. It was also fun with the brilliant six-person team working with me to turn out a daily Congress newsletter for all the delegates attending. Sue Andu was the president of BPW Japan, as well as being the Asia Pacific regional coordinator. I was working after midnight in the Congress office when she wandered in and took it to be normal for me to be there and decided that she wanted to practice her welcome speech for me for the next day's session on me. So that was another late night. The time that I spent as regional coordinator Europe, 1993 to 1996, was a great experience and holds a plethora of memories working closely with my great friend, Livia Ricci, who was then the president. The regional congress in that time in Vienna gave me the opportunity to bring all the European presidents together in launching a plan for how the European region would organise itself. And I hope that was the foundation to the present day excellent presidents' meetings that administer the region today. Sorry about my phone. Beijing Plus 30 is very much a feature of this year and will be for at the CSW, as I've been thinking back very much, recalling not only the 1995 auspicious event for serious intent, but also the extraordinary experiences we in BPW had in the build-up, getting there and taking part in a lot of different activities. Former president of BPW Finland expressed that what we felt when she said, "We went to the Fourth World Conference on Women with hope and energy. However, it was neither a beginning nor an end. It was a moment in history, a turning point. Certainly in my life, it was an absolute watershed experience. For many years, women from around the world had been cooperating at annual commissions on the status of women, regional conferences, NGOs, national reports, and various caucuses to build a strong agenda for lobbying their governments on the key issues. But in the latter part of 1944, for the first time in UN history, the NGOs organised their own parallel forums in each of the 5 regions, developing formal mechanisms that laid the ground for a stronger international women's movement. The key issues holding women back, common to each region, were identified as political and economic barriers, communication and logistical problems. We were well represented in a 2-day consultation preceding the CSW in the spring of 1995 in New York, which brought 14,000 women and men together to focus on amendments to an 89-page draft in the plan of action. This became the key document we would use to lobby all the governments in Beijing. Now, of course, the focus is on the conversion to the SDGs. I felt a sense of great excitement that we were really pushing the barriers, making it our turn, taking matters into our own hands. Beijing as a venue hosting this conference was extremely controversial for a start. The accreditation and the visas were difficult to obtain, and there was much in the media about boycotting it because of the host's human rights policy. The NGO Forum Week that preceded the UN conference was therefore transferred to Haru, approximately 15 kilometres outside Beijing, a 90-minute bus ride to keep us out of the way. This was an experience like none other. 30,000 women treading their way through half-finished buildings and tents, all heavily guarded, to participate in workshops, panels and plenaries, in all some 5,000 events. Entitled, Look at the World Through Women's Eyes, this was an experience not ever to be forgotten. There were some famous faces there as well. It was great sitting on the same row as Jane Fonda at a panel which was chaired by Hillary Clinton. At another event, hearing that Winnie Mandela had tried to come in but had been thrown out by the guards. The UN conference took place the next week in Beijing with 20 of us from BPW International able to be accredited representatives among the overall 17,000 participants, including the official government delegates, NGOs, and the media. It was at times traumatic, but a great experience and one that could talk on for a day. A highlight was that Pat Harrison and Claire Fucher, one of our reps at the UN in New York, drafted a statement and managed with much difficulty to get it typed and circulated to the official delegations. Next came the Venice Conference in 1996, and without having served in any role on an international executive committee, it was my turn to be elected. I was the last president to be able to use the international office in London before the building, a former school, was sold for development, and the president's office is now set up in the country where she lives. It's a really unique situation to have a London office with your own car parking space and also bedroom and bathroom available. After 3.5 years of sharing some wonderful events and experiences with the many clubs and federations that I have visited, my Congress in Vancouver in 1999 proposed and succeeded in bringing the regional coordinators onto the executive, providing better communication and decision making for everyone. It's that I shall always treasure above all other, and that was knowing Esther Heimer. When I went to New York for CSW on the first occasion, some of you will be doing today, I little knew that I was going to find an icon who would advise me, teach me so much, and I am proud to say, become a friend. Esther was a tiny lady, but my goodness, she was a remarkable woman. She did not hold office, but had a unique role in our organization. As it was said of her, what a woman, what a citizen of the world. She was the link that brought BPW together with the UN. In 1945, when the UN Charter was signed in Francisco, she was one of the 2 women volunteers to see it signed. The UN Charter provided special arrangements for non-governmental organisations to have consultation with the UN. It's recognised that BPW should be there and was a lobbyist for IFBPW to become one of the first 5 organisations to be granted consultative status Category 2 with ACOSOC. She was also an advocate for the Decade of Women and chaired the committee planning the NGO forum for that in 1975. This was just the beginning. She went on campaigning and consulting at the highest level until she was past 100 years. There was recognition for her as she became the first recipient of the IFBPW award, the Badge of Honour. In 1987, IFBW was designated by the then UN Secretary General, Javier Perez, as a peace messenger in recognition of the significant contribution to the programme and objectives of the International Year of Peace. But it was Esther's work that had attracted that recognition, and it was appropriate that she received the award from the UN Secretary General on our behalf. There was a collection of papers, books, and other items dedicated and named in honour of Esther in the Waterkirk Music Library at the Church Centre in New York. At least it was there. I hope it's not been moved. All the detail about these facts and much more is contained in the book that I was privileged to write about Esther in cooperation with Livia Ritchie. Having gathered a lot of material, Livia and I spent a weekend closeted in the IFBPW office one weekend for this weekend and worked totally on the layout and most of the text of the book. And within the next 6 weeks, I organised the other information that we included in it, proofread and printed it ready for sale at the 1999 Vancouver Congress. Later, Livia got it translated into Italian and achieved more sales that way. We did a bus to 42nd Street. That was because 42nd Street was where the bus depot was that Esther travelled to each day that she came to the UN from her home in New Jersey. I think they probably could all be sold now, but first Vice President Nalima has my permission to print more copies, and I hope she'll be able to manage that. I like writing, so it was a great pleasure when I was asked to write by the other members of the Project 50, the first 25 years history of the Project 50. And that is still, I think, in publication. So I've confined these memories up until the end of my presidency. My membership span is too long for this talk, and indeed, I don't think I've really picked out too much as it is now. But I'm willing to answer any questions and about anything else you'd like to know. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sylvia. That was really terrific. I'm going to turn my back and ask if there's anybody got any questions for Sylvia.
What is she doing now? What does she keep?
Hi, Sylvia. Thank you so much. It was a wealth of history you shared with us. So how are you keeping your time now? What keeps you busy as a past president?
Well, until a few years ago, I was chairing the CNR committee internationally. You may remember I chaired that session in Cairo, the last conference I was physically able to attend. I'm still very active in BPW CAC as a past president, and I chair our governance committee and belong to lots of other groups and do a fair bit of publicity for them. I hope Joe's doesn't correct that. And my other life is that I'm very much involved in my church as church warden, and that takes a lot of my time as well.
Thank you. So Sylvia, tell everybody that you were the international president appointed me as a UN rep in
Very well,
1990.
Liz. Liz, I can't hear you very well.
Oh, and now can you hear? Can you hear?
Yeah.
I wanted to tell everybody that you were the national president that appointed me as the UN rep in New York in 1998, of which I served 20 years as a UN rep here in New York. But my first meeting you, Sylvia, was at a regional conference in St. Martin when I was a fairly new member, and I flew to go and see what a regional coordinator was about. The regional meeting, I should say. So this will be filming, they're filming. So I went to St. Martin, and that's where I met you as the international president. I sat in the front row.
Right. Right. And when was the regional meeting?
It was a regional conference in St. Martin, in the Caribbean.
Yes.
When
Yes.
you- Yeah, you were the president. So I sat in the front row, and I was on BPW ever since then. And so you've made a lot of difference in many of our members' lives, especially mine, and more to come. And so I've spent many years working very closely with you on very important issues and enjoyed it. So I think I will. We have another question for you. Can you hear, Sophia?
No, I couldn't hear very well. I'm sorry.
Good afternoon, Gentleman Being President of the UK. I would like to ask a question to Past International President Sylvia Perry. Would you say that your participation within BPW has kept you as young and active as we see you on screen today?
I don't think she heard. No.
I don't think I heard it. No.
I repeat, good afternoon, it's Gentleman Being President of BPW UK. Question to Past International President Sylvia Perry. Would you say that your participation in BPW has kept you as young and active as we see you on screen today?
Oh,
She heard you.
yeah. I think it's something you never want to leave. I think the friendship, but the friendship and the cooperation and the understanding, but also the things that we have to fight for. You never want to stop fighting for them. And I think that if I didn't have BPW, I'd feel a great loss in my life. And if it keeps me active, all the good.
Dear Sylvia, thank you very much for having accepted to talk to us during this Leader Summit of 2025. This triennial first Leader Summit, and your words were very inspiring, and they are full of history that we needed to know. Thank you, dear Sylvia. Did you listen? Did you hear me?
Yes, I can perfectly. Thank you very much indeed, and enjoy that and really make a difference at this CSW.
Thanks.
Okay, take care. Good night, everybody.